wasn't coming after her. He opened up the back seat of her car and pulled the man that had been hiding in the back of her car. He had a high view of her life. And she was running from this man. Beloved, God has a high view of your life. Stop running from Him. He's only trying to help you. He's only trying to save you. We get into trouble when we try to circumvent God. When we try to help God out. Sarah tried to help God out. This world is still in a mess because of what she did. Just open your eyes and see that God is the one blessing you. He's the one who loves you. He's the one who knows what you need. Thirdly, we realize that the Lord provides for our needs and not our greeds. When you pick up reading in verse 16, it's going to be a little lengthy reading here, but I need to read this. You need to hear this. Beginning at verse 16. This is the thing which the Lord had commanded. Gather of this manna every man according to his eating, an omer, which is a measure, an omer for every man according to the number of your persons in the house. Take ye every man for them which are of his tent. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more and some less. And when they did measure it out an omer, he that gathered much had nothing left, and he that had little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moses said, Let no man leave it until the morning. Notwithstanding, listen to this, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left it until the next day, and it bred worms, and it stank, and Moses was angry with them. And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating, and when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And it came to pass that on the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omer for every man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And Moses said to them, This is what the Lord has said. Tomorrow is the rest, it's the Sabbath, and you are to bake that which you will bake today, boil that which you're going to save for tomorrow, and it'll remain and lay over and keep until the morning. And they laid it up till morning, as Moses had commanded, and it did not stink, neither was there any worms therein. See what happens when you obey God? It works. Verse 25, And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today you shall not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the seventh, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found none. And the Lord said unto Moses, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? See that the Lord has given you the Sabbath, therefore he giveth you the 6th day of the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. Boy, isn't that a picture? When you obey God, things go well. And when you don't obey God, you go hungry. That's what the Bible just told us. We need to realize that the Lord is going to provide your needs, every one of you, but not our greeds. God provided every manna for every person all the time that they were in the wilderness. But to ensure that the people would trust Him to provide, the Lord commanded that they gather only enough for that day, what they needed today. There was only that one exception, and that was the Sabbath. They could then gather for 2 days. And isn't it wonderful that it would not even last until the sun got hot, except for the day before the Sabbath. That would wait until tomorrow because of God. God's going to bless you if you honor Him. You give your tithe, God's going to take that 90% and He is going to bless you and you'll have 110%. My wife and I never understood how our budget made it. We look at it on paper and we say we can't afford to tithe, but we tithe. And we had enough. We had more than enough. God blessed every time. But these people, they disobeyed the commands of God because they could not trust Him. In fact, it tells us in the very beginning of this reading that the reason that God did this, where it would only last that day, is to see if they would trust Him. But their selfish acts proved futile. Because they would, if they gathered more, it just got full of maggots and began to stink. Here's the danger of the Christian life. That we are going to trust what we have in that bank account more than what we're going to trust in the Lord. Here's a better one. We're going to trust in what I can do more than I'm going to trust in what the Lord can do in my life. There are many noble purposes for working. We use it to earn our money to meet our family's needs. We earn it so that we can share and help the needs of others. We use it to earn the respect of our neighbors. But we should never work because of greed. Too many families in our nation are losing their children trying to provide for them everything they want. So mom and dad both have a job with overtime, or they have 2 jobs, or they have more. Not to provide the needs, but to provide the greeds. Proverbs 23, verse 4 and 5 says, "Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Have the wisdom to show restraint. Cast a glance at riches, and they are gone." Listen, try to get on the phone with some of these celebrities, these movie stars, these music stars, and that show you how much money they have. Ask them if they're happy. Ask them if they're content. All they want is more. And they want to protect what they have. And they want to get people to quit trying to take what they have. They're wearing themselves out to get rich. I want to be like that fisherman. Just sitting back on a sunny afternoon, just enjoying what God has given me. There's a difference between what we need and just what we want. The Israelites had their needs met. They had the bread come down from heaven, but they wanted more. They were given quail. I mean, it just landed into their lap, but they wanted more. God gave them manna in a daily allotment to test them, to prove them, to see if they would trust Him. And on the very first day, they proved that they weren't going to trust God. They were afraid that God wasn't going to provide, that He wasn't going to keep His word. He said, "Never have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread." All through the Bible, we have God promising His people provision, protection, blessing, and as long as they did as God commanded, He would provide. The only time that they came into want is when they got away from God's plan. And if you are in want today, there is only one place that you need to look to see what is wrong, and that is in your own heart. You need to find out where you got away from God. You know, we're having Valentine's Day today, and I should have been talking about love, but here's my only story about love. It's about a husband and wife that were married for 35 years. So on their 35th wedding anniversary, they still had the same truck they got married in, and she's over there by the door just crying her eyes out, and the husband said, "What's wrong?" She said, "When we first got married, we sat together everywhere we went." He said, "I haven't moved." She was the one sitting way down there. When you get to a point in your life and say, "God, where are you?" God is just driving the truck saying, "I haven't moved." He's in the same place. Look inside yourself. Find out where you went wrong. Where you got off track. And get back next to Him. Look at it to God to meet your needs. Don't ask Him. Don't even ask Him to meet your greeds. But you just trust Him. And I'll tell you this. This is what God said. He said, "I'll give you the desires of your heart." You trust me. I'll give you the desires of your heart. The fourth thing in this text is to realize the faithfulness of the Lord. Verse 31. "And the house of Israel came and called the name thereof manna, and it was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it."